Hi guys, my name's Alyssa and welcome back to my channel. I'm very sorry for the delay on this video. My son broke my computer. I mentioned it on Facebook, and now I got a new computer, which was fantastic. And whenever you get a little bit of money, something always happens and it takes your money away. But this computer is awesome. I'm still working out kinks, so right now we're shooting this on the stock camera here, and I don't know how that's going to work because on my other computer that didn't work very well. It's like the worst camera ever. This one seems okay, but it's like it's not really catching up with my hands. Anyway, this is your ninth house. I've been going through all of the houses in order. You don't know how to look at houses. It's really easy to figure out if you look at an actual chart, not a grid or a graph, but like the circular chart. I do Western astrology. The circular chart's the easiest way to do it. If you're looking at a graph, you're going to get really confused. Like, it's going to say Sun in Libra, and then you have to go find out, like, Libra in the ninth house. Like, and sometimes if the degree's off, your Sun in Libra could be in the eighth house and not the ninth house. And if you look at the picture of the chart, you can see that each house is different. And the planets, if you know the glyphs, fall in these houses. Right up at the very top is your ninth house. As you can see, I have that little weird looking glyph there. That's my Uranus. Uranus. Some people say Uranus. Some people say Uranus. Some people say Uranus. I say Uranus because that's how I know. Anyway, that's right in my ninth house. So if you have any planets there, and if you don't have any planets there, another question I get way too often is, what happens if I don't have any planets there? You just read the sign. It's okay. It's like, as you can see in my chart, there's a lot of houses I don't have planets in. Doesn't mean that I'm no longer a human or that I don't have these houses. These houses have different signs. That's just the way that it works. Okay, so sorry to get super basic, but I just get these questions all the time. And it's been a while since I've been doing the houses. I took a break, so I thought that I would refresh you guys. So the ninth house. The ninth house is a cadent house. And if you remember from the third house video and the sixth house video, cadent houses, they connect one little quadrant to the next. Cadent means to fall away from. So it's like you're falling away from what we were just talking about in the eighth house and the seventh house, and you're moving in to what we will be talking about, the 10th house. And so cadent houses are a lot about movement. They're mutable because the ninth house is ruled by Sagittarius, sixth house is ruled by Virgo, and the third house is ruled by Gemini, the mutable signs. And mutable is changeable. And a lot of what happens in the ninth house is changeable, and it's supposed to be that way. And I say this now because when I talked about the third house, I made fun of the ninth house because the ninth house is a really fun house to make fun of. It just is. It really, I feel like you have to have a sense of humor about the ninth house because otherwise people take it very seriously. And with any mutable placement, you can't, because what you believe today may not be what you believe 10 years from now or even a month from now, because our views on life are changing. And the ninth house is all about that higher learning. Just because someone has their sun in the ninth house does not mean they are more intelligent than someone with their sun in the third house, even though they're opposite, or more intelligent than someone with their sun in the first or eighth or whatever. Ninth house does not equal intelligence. Ninth house equals a thirst for knowledge. So, if you're looking at this, somebody who is constantly searching for knowledge, for learning, for traveling, for experiences is going to pick up on more because they're putting the signs out there. So on top of the ninth house, though, being about all of this extra stuff, it's still in the quadrant of the seventh and the eighth house. And the seventh house is about relationships, and the eighth house is a supportive house, so it supports relationships. And so what does the ninth house do? All of a sudden we go travel? And maybe, because we is there. It's all about we think and we believe and we learn. Because now if you look at the first house, what is the first house? It is I am. It is my identity. The seventh house is opposing that. What is that? It's we are. Then you have the second house. It's I have. So what is the eighth house? It's we have. So then the third house comes and it is I'm learning. I believe this. I've figured this out. This is true to me. So then the ninth house, you are together in one idea of what is truth and what is knowledge. So you are projecting to people and you want to talk to people about knowledge and the things that you believe in. And when people don't want to talk to you about this stuff, you kind of get really irritated because you're like, come on, hello, this is like all of my information that I learned because I want to. Don't you want to talk to me about it? Isn't your mind as blown as mine? The ninth house is where you're going to find like that spirituality. A lot of people think it's the 12th house, and there's a spiritual, subconscious 12th house thing. It's like a very empathetic house, but that makes sense because the 12th house is also a Cadent house, just like the ninth house is. It's changeable, it's mutable. But the ninth house is more about those religions and far off lands and wondering while you wander and trying to figure out what is this life. Things that you will never in this lifetime begin to nail down. You can't nail down travel. You can't nail down belief systems. You can't tell me that one is right and one is wrong with absolute certainty. There's faith there. And faith then falls in the ninth house. When I grew up in church, they always would quote something about being equally yoked in the Bible. I don't know where that is, but it's like you want to be with somebody who is equally yoked, because that makes sense. If two oxen, right, that's what they are, like pulling a buggy, you don't want a big strong oxen and a little weak one, because one of them will be pulling all the weight and the other one will be dragged behind. They need to be equal. That's how I understand that. So that's where you find this in the ninth house. Are people, are your relationships equally yoked? Are they the same? Are they pulling their weight? Are they believing what you believe? Because ultimately, you can't end up with somebody for the long haul if they don't have the same belief system. Because the belief system is not something that you can change somebody's mind on. It's not something that all of a sudden you're like, oh, you grew up atheist? Well, I grew up Christian. I'm going to make you believe in God and Jesus. And that atheist is like, I'm going to make you understand how stupid God and Jesus are. And for both of those people, you're like, why are you trying to challenge my beliefs so much? Like, get the fuck out of here. I mean, and it absolutely makes sense. And so they say that if you view the ninth house as less of a telling house and more of a questioning house, you will survive this life way better than those people who view it as a telling house. If you understand that your belief systems and the things you were raised with and what you've changed about your life, and you understand how this works and how it's different than somebody else's, you will no longer tell them your views. You will ask them questions about why they believe their own views. And through asking those questions is how people change, because people do change. I believed one thing for a really long time. I got a lot of new information in my life, and my beliefs changed. This happens to everybody, mostly. Unless you got like a really stubborn sign or whatever, and you're going to be born this way and you're going to die this way, and that's your thing. And I wouldn't try to change somebody who has like Taurus in the ninth house with, their sun and Mercury there. They're really going to be like, yeah, I am forever this way. Get out of here because you can't change my mind. That's stupid that you even think you can. So the sign there is going to tell you basically like what you are willing to believe, right? So someone like me, I have Sagittarius in my ninth house. I enjoy learning new things and believing new things. Now let's say it's the opposite and you have Gemini there. Gemini is going to want to talk about all these new belief systems, but may not actually change their minds so easily. They might just feel Like if I talk about this, if I expect that you're going to listen to me and we're going to interchange and exchange ideas, I'm going to learn so much and it's going to be really exciting, and maybe from there I will take on some facts and bring them home to me. I'm only looking for those sort of facts because Gemini is ruler of the third house. It's more fact-based. So that's what happens when you have that in a flipped chart, like someone with a Libra ascendant. Now, Aquarius is ruled by Uranus, and it's also ruled by Saturn. And so somebody with that there is going to be one really stubborn because it's fixed. Aquarius naturally has their own ideas of things, really thinks that these ideas are perfect and not flawed, and that they are going to help other people. Someone with Aquarius in their ninth house will find that if they share their beliefs that are original and unique with the world, that the world should accept them because they have an open mind and they've figured them out and they want to give them to you to change your life, because Aquarius is like the water bearer. They're going to bring new life. So if you're dealing with somebody who has Aquarius in their ninth house, you may not want to have an argument with them because it may not be fun. And I'm just saying this, like, those people that you talk to who have a lot of opinions and who don't like to listen to yours. Someone with Aquarius in the ninth house would fit that mold. Someone who's just like, no, I have a ton of opinions and I've researched the crap out of them. I've been enlightened and I believe them. And they might subconsciously hear you out, take that information, use it later. I'd say someone with Scorpio in the ninth house, even though it's fixed, they're very stubborn about keeping that part of their life a secret. They don't want people to know their beliefs. But now let's go to your planets. Let's go with the main ones, like the sun. There's your egos there. If your ego's wrapped up in the ninth house, it is very important to you to be viewed as an intelligent person. And you have to accomplish certain things that get you to a height of intelligence and social status and a belief system that people admire you for. If you don't get there, it's going to be really hard to move on with life. As I said, if you don't feed your ego in the house that it is first, you're going to have a hard time doing other things. If your sun's there, because it's also a relational house in the relational quadrant, and it's a very public house because it's leading into the 10th house, which is the public house, you need somebody who definitely shares your beliefs, who stands on the same platform that you do and doesn't mind that you're going to give yourself a public platform for your beliefs, and isn't embarrassed of that and is completely supportive. That's really important to you. Let's say you have your Mercury there. People with their Mercury. Mercury is your mind, communication. Yakety yak, yakety yak, yakety yak. I have a lot of opinions and I'm going to talk about them. And they might change, but I might not even realize that they changed because my mind is working really fast, making sure that I believe these things. And I'm pulling these things in and I'm regurgitating them out. And if you don't want to listen, well, you're an idiot. But now let's go with the moon. A lot of people who have their moon in the ninth house, depending on how it's aspected, find that their mother had an anywhere but here mentality. Like I said, the ninth house is about travel. So when you view your mother in the ninth house, you view her as being wishing that she did something else with her life than have children. And so there's a big disconnect with your nurturing side. And people with their moon in the ninth house don't necessarily know how to nurture. Anywhere but here. I don't really want kids. I don't really want to do this. I'd like to be pulled away from reality to deal with my emotions. And so that's how, you deal with those. Instead of having a mother who nurtured your emotions in there, you learned, I like this anywhere but here approach. So I'm feeling sad anywhere but here. Okay, where can I go in my brain? Where can I go in real life? Where can I connect? Where can I travel to? I mean, and in general, that's the way that the sun acts too when it's there, or a lot of those planets. When something is hardcore hitting your ninth house, you want to leave. Escape it. Not Pisces escape like in your head. You want to physically get off your ass and move. And you can't always. So then that's when your imagination takes over and you learn new things. It doesn't necessarily get influenced by people. It gets influenced by information and travel. So when you are unable to leave the place you're at, Your ninth house is going to travel for you and pick up new ideas and learn new things. People with Saturn in the ninth house feel like they have a tick and they have to keep going to school. Like their karmic lesson is to keep learning more and have more and more degrees or learn more and more. And not every Saturn in the ninth goes to school, but they have to pick up something because they feel just like there's something, there's like a tick. I got to keep learning, I got to keep learning, I got to keep learning. But all in all, the ninth house should be a happy house. The ninth house should be where you're free to dream and free to believe and free to explore and see and love. Take somebody with you and just go and do your life the way that you feel needs to be done. We're out of the eighth house now. We learned about death and regeneration and sadness and pain and learning your personal power. Now, what do you do with that personal power? You go out and you see the world and you let it propel you into the cosmos and you find out why we're here. And of course, you're going to find out why we're here, and it may not be true, but you're going to believe it is, and that's faith is going to take you and carry you into the 10th house. And that is all. I will talk to you all later. Have fun. Bye.